How to descale miniature locomotive boilers. This is a one-off special showing how I do it. The most important thing to do is not to use too much acid, and make sure that when the acid has done its stuff and removed all of the limescale, you get rid of every trace of the acid by flushing the boiler several times with clean water. I'm going to use the usual Kilrok-K kettle descaler for this job. Limescale in the water gauge above the water level is a sure sign that you have an excess of limescale in the boiler. Once you've watched this video, you may not see the need to do what I'm about to show you. This clip was taken directly from an episode of My Sterling Single. You've just seen me cleaning the limescale from within the water gauge using a pipe cleaner dipped in neat Kilrok-K. I bought this device a while back. It was very cheap and it's not particularly good, but here, if you can make out the image, it's showing limescale stuck to the sides of the boiler inside the boiler. I really don't want to push the endoscope too far into the boiler in case it gets stuck. This was enough to tell me that it was time to clean the boiler out. A while ago I made a video all about rebuilding a Mammoth steam tractor. This is a smoke box and it had plenty of limescale even in this part. As far as I was concerned, this boiler was scrap, so using my bandsaw I cut it in half. I have to admit that I was surprised when I looked at this. All of the limescale was in the upper half of the boiler, with hardly any at the bottom where the water is. I really don't think that my steam boiler is going to be as bad as this one as far as limescale is concerned. The job starts by pouring some Kilrok-K into the special funnel that I modified to do this job. Not too much, just a little bit will do. The next thing to do is to add some hot water to the kettle descaler. Caution, do not use boiling water, as this could damage the boiler owing to the rapid thermal expansion. The water in the kettle just needs to be hot to the touch. Always open the injector water valves on the turret in order to let the air out as you fill the boiler, but do not open the blower valve, as the smoke box will also fill with water when maximum level is reached. I'm going to slide a baking tray under the engine, which is elevated currently. This will catch the water from the injector overflows, and also when I use the blowdown valve to empty the boiler, it will catch all of the water that's in the boiler, but unfortunately not in one go. The water gauge shows when the water is approaching the full level. This is a second filling. It took more than a kettle full to fill the boiler completely. So here we go once again, and don't forget it's not boiling water, it's just hot to the touch. When you see the water running out of the injector overflows, you know that the water level is right at the top of the boiler. Don't remove the funnel too quickly like I've just done. Wait until it's fully empty before you do. I've just shown me shaking the engine to slop the water about inside the boiler, but you don't really need to do this. I let some of the water out of the boiler using the blowdown valve underneath, then I added a bit more Kilrok-K. And in case you wonder where the blowdown valve is on this engine, it's in a really strange place. It's at the front of the boiler and you get to it with a screwdriver through the spokes of the wheel. After leaving this initial mixture of Kilrok-K and water in the boiler for 15 minutes, I decided to drain it out. But doing it this way was too slow. I need some power assistance. So I screwed in the safety valve temporarily and I fed some pressure into the boiler with my air line. The air was admitted using the check valve, which is normally used for the hand pump. Looking in the baking tray, you will see that the water is slightly bluey-green coloured, which is a sure sign that the Kilrok-K is doing its stuff. I was going to do this job directly over the kitchen sink, and I really don't know why I didn't do it that way. This is the second filling of the baking tray, and now the boiler's more or less empty. And once again you can see that the water in the baking tray is a greeny blue kind of colour. This is a sure sign that the internal part of the copper boiler is now clean. With the safety valve out of the way, I open the injector steam valves, fit the special funnel and then start again. Just to remind you, this is not boiling water. I know it's in the kettle, but it's only hand hot. After a couple of kettlefuls like this, as before, I open the blowdown valve, fit the safety valve and then close both of the injector steam valves. And once I admit some compressed air, quite a lot of the water starts to leave the boiler, via the blowdown valve. Now the water in the baking tray is looking a lot cleaner. It seemed to take 2 trips to the kitchen sink for every boiler full using this baking tray. So here once again I'm opening the valve, there's compressed air in the boiler and the water rushes out. All that's coming out of the blowdown valve now is compressed air. And once again it's time to empty the baking tray into the kitchen sink. That is after I close the blowdown valve. The boiler's empty, so guess what I'm about to do? Once again I'm filling the boiler with hot water. I cannot stress enough how important it is to remove every trace of the kettle descaler from the boiler. This is formic acid and you really don't want it in there. From my experience, prolonged contact with this kettle descaler, Kilrok-K, can corrode brass fittings. So it's really important to get rid of every trace of the acid. This is an edited version of filling and emptying the boiler for the 3rd time. The water's almost clean enough to drink now. But on second thoughts I won't do that. I flushed out the boiler with hot water 4 times to remove all traces of the kettle descaler. I anticipate some priming when I first steam the boiler, but this should subside after a few runs. Priming is when water is carried over into the steam pipe. A close inspection of the water from the boiler tells me that that is just what it is, clean water, so it's job done. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my main Steam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists you can actually watch the videos back to back.